Why do football stars who earn millions during their peak years end up losing almost everything after retirement? What turns a career filled with fame, luxury, and massive contracts into financial struggle within just a few years? In this video, we shall uncover the hidden financial mistakes, psychological traps, and lifestyle habits that slowly destroy football wealth. You will also discover the 3 simple rules that could have protected almost every case of financial collapse. These lessons go far beyond football and apply to anyone earning fast money. Let's break down the real story behind the numbers and behavior. Why footballers lose millions after retirement. 1. The income shock problem. A football career creates the illusion of permanent wealth because earnings are extremely high during peak years. Players feel financially secure because weekly income is far beyond normal professions. However, this stability is temporary and often misunderstood. The real shock begins when retirement arrives and income stops completely. There is no gradual reduction, only an instant drop to zero. This sudden change creates a financial gap that most players are not emotionally or mentally prepared for. At the same time, lifestyle costs remain unchanged, creating a dangerous imbalance. Many players underestimate how quickly money can stop compared to how slowly expenses adjust. This mismatch becomes the first major step toward financial instability after retirement. 2. Lifestyle inflation that becomes permanent. During peak earning years, footballers naturally upgrade their lifestyle to match their income. Luxury homes, expensive cars, international travel, and high-end spending become normal parts of life. Over time, this lifestyle stops feeling like luxury and starts feeling like identity. The problem begins after retirement when income disappears but habits remain unchanged. Spending patterns continue automatically because they are emotionally connected to status and comfort. Even when finances shrink, the mindset does not adjust quickly. Reducing lifestyle feels like losing identity rather than adjusting expenses. This emotional attachment is one of the strongest reasons wealth disappears after retirement. 3. Poor financial literacy and weak advisory systems. Most footballers start their careers very young, often without financial education or long-term planning knowledge. At that stage, concepts like investing, taxation, and compounding are not part of their thinking. As a result, players rely heavily on financial advisors and external managers. While some provide good guidance, others expose athletes to risky or poorly structured investments. In several real cases, athletes have lost millions due to failed financial schemes or mismanaged portfolios. Without financial understanding, decisions are made on trust rather than knowledge. This creates long-term vulnerability that becomes visible after retirement. 4. Family pressure and social obligations. Success in football often brings financial responsibility beyond personal needs. Family expectations increase and financial support for relatives, friends, and social circles becomes common. Over time, this creates continuous financial outflow that feels emotionally necessary but financially draining. Even high earnings struggle to sustain these ongoing obligations. The difficulty lies in saying no because financial success is often seen as shared success. This emotional pressure slowly reduces long-term financial stability. 5. Psychological identity crisis after retirement. Retirement is not only a financial shift but also an emotional breakdown point. Football gives structure, purpose, and identity for years, and when it ends, a sudden void appears. Many players struggle with loss of routine, recognition, and direction. This emotional gap often leads to impulsive decisions and poor financial choices. Some try to maintain their old lifestyle to preserve identity, while others invest emotionally rather than logically. This psychological instability becomes a hidden driver of financial collapse. Real pattern. Why wealth disappears fast. Across many real-world cases, a consistent pattern appears where even top football stars who earn millions still end up facing financial collapse after retirement. High earnings during active years create a strong illusion of permanent wealth, but in reality, that income is temporary and tied to a very short career window. We have seen this pattern in multiple well-known cases such as Ronaldinho, who faced severe financial trouble after retirement, and Paul Gascoigne, who experienced long-term financial and personal struggles after his playing career ended. Other examples like Jermaine Pennant and John Barnes also highlight how even Premier League-level earnings do not guarantee long-term financial safety. The main issue is not how much money is earned, but how long that money must last once income stops. Without structured financial planning systems, wealth becomes dependent on continuous earnings instead of long-term management. At the same time, lifestyle expectations often remain unchanged even after retirement. Expensive habits, social pressure, and financial commitments continue, while income drops to zero. This creates a dangerous imbalance where spending stays high but earnings completely stop. This is the core reason wealth disappears so quickly after retirement, even for players who once earned millions at the highest level of football. The 3 rules that would have saved them. There is nothing random about financial collapse in football. In most cases, it follows predictable behavior patterns that can be controlled with discipline. These 3 rules are simple but powerful enough to completely change outcomes if followed early in a career. Rule 1. Treat all football income as 20-year income, not today's money. The first and most important shift is mental. Instead of viewing income as weekly or yearly earnings, it must be treated as long-term survival capital meant to last decades. Football careers are extremely short compared to normal professions. Injuries, form drops, or contract changes can end income suddenly and without warning. This means every earning period must support a future that may last 20 to 40 years after retirement. When this mindset is adopted, financial behavior changes naturally. Spending becomes more controlled, unnecessary luxury reduces, and long-term thinking becomes the default approach. Instead of reacting emotionally to high income, decisions are made with future stability in mind. This rule alone prevents one of the biggest mistakes athletes make, which is assuming income will continue at the same level indefinitely. Rule 2. Lock 60 to 80% of income into protected investments. The second rule is about structure and discipline. Financial success is not about how much is earned, but how much is protected from emotional spending. One of the most effective systems is automatically locking 60 to 80% of income into long-term investments before lifestyle spending begins. This removes emotional decision-making from the process. When money is easily accessible, it tends to be spent without long-term thinking. However, when it is placed into structured investments such as diversified assets, index-based portfolios, or long-term savings systems, it gains time to compound and grow. This separation between spending money and growing money creates financial stability that continues even after retirement. It ensures that wealth is not dependent on active income, but on structured financial systems. Rule 3. Build a post-career identity plan before retirement. The third rule focuses on psychology rather than numbers. One of the biggest hidden reasons for financial failure is identity loss after retirement. When players leave football without direction, they lose structure, routine, and purpose. This emotional gap often leads to poor financial decisions, impulsive spending, or risky investments made for emotional comfort rather than logic. Building a second identity before retirement solves this problem early. This can include developing skills in coaching, business, media work, broadcasting, or entrepreneurship while still playing professionally. When identity is stable outside football, financial decisions become more rational. Retirement no longer feels like a collapse. Instead, it becomes a transition into a prepared second phase of life, reducing emotional pressure on money decisions and protecting long-term wealth. The hidden lesson behind football wealth collapse. The financial downfall of footballers is not limited to sports. It reflects a wider reality about sudden wealth without structure. Anyone who experiences rapid income growth without financial systems faces similar risks, including entrepreneurs, influencers, and entertainers. Football only makes the pattern more visible due to high earnings, short careers, and intense lifestyle pressure. The lesson applies far beyond the game. When you look at the full story, the downfall of football stars after retirement is not just about money. It is about habits, psychology, and the systems built during their earning years. Football creates massive income in a short time, but without structure, that income does not last. Lifestyle pressure, emotional decisions, and lack of planning slowly turn success into financial struggle. But nothing about this outcome is fixed. With the right mindset and discipline, the same wealth that disappears in some cases can be preserved and even grow for decades. The real difference is not luck. It is structure. So now the real question is simple. If your income suddenly changed tomorrow, would your system protect you or break you? If this video helped you understand money and mindset in a deeper way, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more deep financial breakdowns like this one.